The situation is unprecedented. Never in American history has a man so close to the president, on his cabinet, the national security advisor no less, been accused of committing a crime by taking money from a foreign entity, much less one connected to the Russians. The investigation largely dominated the White House briefing today. John Roberts was there. What else is the White House saying about these documents, John?
The White House is basically saying, Shep, that it did everything that the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform asked it to do. First of all, they wanted to know, this is Jason Chaffetz and Elijah Cummings, what Lieutenant General Flynn said when he filled out Form SF-86. That's for his national security clearance. The White House says, well, that document resides with the Defense Intelligence Agency, which did the security clearance background check. And the committee went over there, and apparently they did get access to that. As to the other requests, they were asking for documents about any contacts, payments, or anything that Lieutenant General Michael Flynn had prior to January 20th. In a letter to the committee, the head of the Legislative Affairs Division here, Mark Short, said, "We don't have many of those documents." And then he said in the letter, with respect to documents post-dating January the 20th, a lot of those, which would include meetings and phone calls that Lieutenant General Flynn had with foreign leaders and other emissaries, would likely be classified and or sensitive in nature. Mark Short also writing, quote, "Moreover, it's unclear how such documents would be relevant to the stated purpose of the committee's review, which, according to your letter, is to examine Flynn's disclosure of payments related to activities that occurred in 2015 and 2016 prior to his service at the White House." So the White House saying basically, why would any documents after January 20th have any relevance on what happened before? So we're not going to provide you with those. I talked to Sean Spicer about this, and here's what he told us at the briefing. Listen here.
I don't know what he filled out and what he did or did not do. That all happened. He filled that form out prior to coming here, and so it would be up to the committee and other authorities to look at that. I don't know. But with respect to the letter, they asked for three things. The SF-86, which you properly point out was in the possession of the DIA. My understanding through reports is that they have obtained that. Then they asked for documents prior to January 20th. As you know, through the Constitution, we didn't assume the White House until January 20th at noon, so we don't have the documents prior to assuming the White House. And then the third would be they listed for every call and contact that he made.
Now, don't forget, when it comes to this Form SF-86, there was another White House staffer, Jared Kushner, who had a little bit of difficulty filling it out. He did not fully fill out the section here, Section 19, about contacts with foreign officials, even though he had spoken to a number of them. He apparently then, Shep, went back and filled that out. We do not know, because we don't have access to General Flynn's SF-86, exactly what he put down in the document. But according to Jason Chaffetz, there's nothing in that document, it's 127 pages long, that would indicate that he did disclose those payments. Shep?
John, at the core of all this is the Russians interfered with our election. General Flynn received money through an entity that was from the Russians. And what they want to know is, was there collusion? The White House, at least, is giving the appearance, according to these Congress leaders, of a lack of cooperation, which could give an overall appearance that they're trying to cover something up. Why not quit with all the semantic juggling and stuff and get to the bottom of this as quickly as possible to get it off their plate?
That is a good question, and it's a question that we've been asking for a long time, is why didn't you just dump everything that there is out there and try to just get it off the table? I asked that question of White House officials back in probably the middle of February, and they didn't want to drop everything out there. The reason for which wasn't particularly clear, but if they do have the possession of documents and somebody at the transition office has got those, not sure exactly where they reside now, and they do have documents after he was there on the 20th. But, you know, successive White Houses, Shep, have sometimes been very reluctant to give out these documents, and that would appear to be the case here, even though the White House says it fully complied with all the requests in the letter, even though complying with one of those requests, Shep, was a refusal to give over some documents.
John Roberts on the North Lawn. John, thanks very much. Actions have consequences. There are a lot of different strategies to be employed here. The one that they've taken at the White House, how dangerous is it, if at all? A.B. Stoddard is here with her take.